Hello, my name is Casey Heckman, and this is my leisure activity called Pinkies Up. As you can see by my lovely photo and the August tea room to the left, I chose the high tea activity. Now in the past I have had tea before, but just not quite like this. Before I share my experience with you, I would first like to give you a brief history. Tea began over in Asia centuries ago, and then migrated to the European countries in the 1650s. It was said that if you drank tea, you would live a long and prosperous life, as seen by the long-lived Asian people who drank it. When tea came to the English, only the wealthy could afford to have it in their home. Servants were not even allowed to touch the tea, and only the woman of the house could serve it. As seen by this photo here, our waitress happened to be a female as well. So the drinking of tea became a social class affair until Anna Maria. Anna Maria was the seventh Duchess of Bedford of Woburn Abbey in Bedfordshire. The Duchess had noticed that the afternoon meal, known as a luncheon, was satisfying but lacked something to quench her thirst till dinner. She found that tea made a perfect midday refreshment and soon began inviting her friends over to enjoy the beverage. These gatherings became social events where the ladies would sit and talk about the local gossip, fashions, and scandals of the day. Women versus men in the tea drinking spectrum over history. Over time, tea drinking always was a formal and delicate occasion, so it was mostly indulged by women. Since there were more middle class men over time than upper class, men were more likely to congregate at the local pubs and brewhouses for their social interaction. These places of informal and rough behavior were not exactly like those of the tea drinking kind. In the 18th century, many women found themselves with a lot of downtime while their husbands were away at work. This made them want to invite over friends and have tea or go out to enjoy tea together at local tea houses. So, what gender roles are playing a factor in today's society? Well, women still find tea to be a social gathering where they can talk about the recent gossip in their lives. As for men, that's a different story. For instance, just take a look at this picture. At a first glance, if you were asked if a man could have a good time in here, your first answer would probably be no. I mean, it's a chick thing. Women have and always have been taught that they are to have proper manners and be polite, which are part of tea etiquette, whereas men are sometimes given slack when it comes to social behavior. According to the BBC, women are able to read other people's emotions. This causes them to look out for one another, and so the tea drinking atmosphere gives them a place where they can sit down and help one another talk through their issues in their lives. The BBC also states that men are good at systemizing, meaning that they like to put things together and be part of an active process. This being said, it is sometimes difficult for men to sit down for a long period of time and talk about their feelings. Even when they are sitting down, they are typically watching a game of other men in motion, such as football. Although the goal of feminism is for equal rights for women, this doesn't mean that the goal is to exclude men completely. A great example of this was the reactions of the ladies when they saw three men walking into their sanctuary, as I call it, because it's the one place where they can get away from men. All of their faces were stunned and quite astonished. As for men, most men of today, with the exception of a few, feel the need to portray themselves as masculine as possible. As a man, you are seen as weak or a wuss when you participate in a female activity, so it is easy to see why most men prefer to stay away from a female leisure, unless of course they are dragged by their loved ones. So now to my experience at the tea room. As I stated before, my friends and I did not feel welcomed by women in the tea room, and so we felt like outsiders. We were embarrassed, as you can see by my friend here, Steve, hiding behind our three-tiered dessert table with finger foods. I can only imagine how red our faces were when we first sat down. We all had our hands on our faces as if we were trying to hide. We were first asked to smell several teas in order to pick our three favorites, and I'll be quite honest, I felt really awkward. My friend Steve here was making sure that we were acting as ladies, not the boisterous boys that we can be. As time went on, we began to settle in, and the staring and whispers from the women in the room began to settle. You can see my friends Patrick and Steve are beginning to have a good time. Over the course, we were given a plethora of mini treats, and even though we were to act as ladies, we ate like lumberjacks and polished all of the finger foods. So, as far as for my advice on leisure for men, I would first say not to be afraid to step outside your male frame of mind. And when you do, it's always good to have some of your friends with you. I know it helped me tremendously. And do something nice for mom every once in a while, something that she would enjoy as a woman. It won't kill you, I promise. My advice to women would be to help men understand that it's okay to have some female oriented leisure. Sometimes it's healthy. And to be open minded with guys, because sometimes some of them can be real softies. So the big question becomes, would I do it again? My answer would be probably not. I would, however, maybe be okay with taking my mom and aunt out for tea, but not in such an extravagant venue. Well, that concludes my leisure activity, and so to you I say, pinkies up and enjoy your tea. Thank you.